I'm talking to Mae Muller, who will be performing I Wrote a Song at Eurovision this year for the United Kingdom. Hello, Mae.
Hello, Peter. Nice to meet you.
I'm sitting in Malmö. You're in Stockholm in mid-April, some 400 miles away. What are you doing in Stockholm in the middle of April?
Well, talking to lovely, lovely people like you. And we are hopefully going to see Loreen a bit later. I'm a big fan of her, so we're just hanging out, eating good food. I love Stockholm. It's like one of my favorite cities, and I've come here to write a lot. I've done a lot of writing here, so I'm always looking for any excuse to come back, to be honest.
And are you between Eurovision pre-parties now?
Yes, I am. So we did Madrid on, I think it was Saturday or last weekend, a few days ago, and then we are doing Amsterdam on this Saturday. So I'm sort of in the middle, and then we've got London on Sunday, and that's the last one.
It sounds like a major tour. Do you find it tiring?
It is sort of like a tour, and I think, it is tiring, but it's, the excitement and the adrenaline kind of carries you through. And I think getting to meet all the other artists, and it kind of, you kind of forget that you're tired, and then afterwards you get back to your hotel, and then you're like, okay, now I can sleep. But it's such a, whirlwind, so it kind of, it goes by very quickly, and yeah, you manage to forget how tired you are.
So I wonder how many times you will have sung your song by the time Eurovision is over.
I think I'll have a lot of practice, which is always good. I think I'm like, as long as I'm prepared, I'll enjoy it. I think the key to enjoyment is preparation.
Hmm. So how do you find some me time during all these preparations?
Um, I think it's just finding those little moments, and I think I am usually, I love to, after my performance, I'll like stay and like have a drink and chat. But I think I'm actually having to like pull myself away and be like, do you know what? Get back to the hotel, like chill, because it is so important amongst all this, craziness and excitement, to have a bit of alone time. Because you're constantly talking and learning and meeting new people and performing, and it's amazing, but it is a lot,
Hmm.
physically and mentally. So
Yes.
I try to grab my moments where I can just kind of diffuse and be alone. But it's hard because a lot of the time I'm like, I want to party.
Eurovision always presents a chance for new artists that we've never heard of before, and this is your big chance. But so, can you tell us who is Mae Muller?
Oh, well, Mae Muller is a singer-songwriter from North London who is very honest, quite outspoken, wants to tell kind of authentic, genuine stories about, the female experience, but also, I just want to be a safe space for everybody. And, whenever you come to a show, you're going to feel included and loved, and it's always going to be a good time.
What was singing always going to be a career for you?
Yes, in my brain, there was never anything else I wanted to do. There's nothing else I'm any good at. So I was like, this has to work, because I don't know what else I would be doing. But when I was younger, like I had no idea how I would get into it. I didn't know how it worked. I didn't know what a record label was. I just didn't know. So it was always sort of a big mystery to me, a big sort of question mark. But I always knew that I loved music. I just loved music from when I was just like a toddler. I just was in awe of it, and I knew I wanted to be in that in some capacity. Um,
What was there music in your family growing up?
yes, my parents are huge, music fans. My dad loves live music. My dad, took me to see Prince perform live, which I know is just such a, I was so lucky that he gave me that experience. There's not a lot of other, I think I was about 9. when I went to see him, and it just stuck with me, you know, to see such an amazing performer connect with, you know, that many people. My aunt, she's in music. Well, she's a director. She directs music videos. So I've kind of seen that from the side, and I've also, you know, that I kind of got a really kind of privileged look at like what that fun side looked like, you know, what the music videos looked like, how they worked.
So what gave? Sorry to interrupt. What gave you your breakthrough then?
So when I was about, I was working in a pub, and I was 19, and I was just posting videos online of me just singing and singing covers, and I posted an original song of mine on SoundCloud, and that kind of got some attention of like managers. So I got a manager, so that was sort of like a breakthrough, but there was still a lot of hard graft that happened after that. And then about a year after, I found my manager, and just doing sessions, like working in the pub and doing the sessions in the evening. Or I released another 2 or 3 songs, and then I got a publishing deal. And that was sort of like my big break. So I've been releasing music for like a year, and then I got my publishing deal, and that felt like my kind of break, because it meant I got to leave the pub. I was financially independent, and it, you know, it was that moment of, wow, I just get to do music now. Like, that's my job. Like, that's what I do. So that felt like a huge kind of breakthrough moment.
You mentioned how the female experience a few minutes ago. Do you have any special role models or artists that you look up to?
Yes, when I was younger, and you know, still today, I love Lily Allen. She was kind of like one of my heroes growing up. I loved how honest she was. I loved how she sang with her London accent, and you know, she just was very, very genuine, and I just kind of hadn't heard that before. And that was really, really inspiring to me, and it really connected with me, even though I was probably way too young to be listening to her music. But even me being a kind of a kid listening to a grown adult singing about her personal experiences, it really resonated with me, because I believed it. I believed every word she said, and it was so visual, you know, with her music, you can really see it. And that's what I wanted from a young age, listening to Lily Allen. I was like, you know, when I write music, I want people to be able to close their eyes and, you know, see it visually, and to believe it, and to relate to it. You know, that's been my #1 goal, for people to be able to relate to the music.
And have you always followed Eurovision?
I have. Well, when I was younger, obviously, it was always around. It's sort of a staple in everybody's lives. You know, it's such a sort of source of joy every year. But it was only in the past sort of like 5 years that I really, really kind of got really into it. But I'm a huge ABBA fan. So when I was younger, like learning that ABBA came from Eurovision, I was just like, whoa. I was like, what is Eurovision? It must be a pretty big deal if ABBA, you know, came from it. So it's always been something I've enjoyed.
But was it something that you dreamt about or worked for yourself, or did it come as a surprise when you were selected now to represent the UK?
I was definitely not expecting it, only because it's such a sort of whirlwind kind of, even from the outside looking in as a fan, I'd never sort of fully put myself there. But the second that, you know, we started having the conversation, and I realized that it was, you know, an opportunity that could be available to me, I was like 100% in. And the second I started envisioning myself on that stage, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, like this would be amazing. So it was, yeah, definitely, you know, I wasn't expecting it, but I was, you know, I was all in.
Tell us about your song.
The song, I wrote a song. I just wanted to write about, you know, how I get through times when I'm not feeling so great and how to navigate those emotions, whether it's a heartbreak or you've fallen out with a friend, or it could be anything. And my way of doing that is through writing. That's how I don't, you know, lose myself. That's how I, you know, keep my dignity, I suppose, you know, but rather than going down the revenge bitter route, I kind of try and empower myself instead. And I thought, you know, that would be quite a
one
cool
final
concept.
question. One final question, then, May, because I know you're in a rush. You have to go somewhere else. But what will it be like to perform on home ground?
Such an honor. I feel like it just makes this year, which already feels like a very special year, even more special. And to be hosting on behalf of Ukraine as well, it's just a huge, huge honor. And I can't wait to feel that energy on the night. I'm very, very excited.
Thank you for talking to us, and we hope to catch up with you in Liverpool.
Yes,
and
definitely.
because there's so much more we'd like to know about you. So
let's do it. Let's catch up.
bye-bye.
Bye, Peter.